Hello, hello. How are you doing? Saturday morning here. Happy to get out. To be honest with you, I've been ill for a couple of days and just staying inside, just like sleeping, not moving much, not doing any kind of sport, obviously. So I'm happy to finally feel a bit better, be able to go out, take a little bit the sun, walking. And I thought, since I'm alone, I can make a short video for you this morning because I had some topics given to me by your questions, which is always helpful. So again, don't hesitate if you have some questions, some idea of topic I could cover, drop them in the comment. Would be happy to try to cover them. Anyway, as an opening for this little podcast, I thought about talking about presentation skills because I think it's quite interesting. It's also related to YouTube, obviously. And it's also related to the second topic about the advantage that I'm going to bring later. It's all going to be about the journey. Presentation skill. Just had a week where I was 2 days in a conference near Zurich. It was called Digital Investigation Conference. So yeah, it's about digital investigation. And I was able to follow a lot of presentation, and myself I was invited on Tuesday making a presentation at a university in a city here in Switzerland, where I was about to talk about my work as a financial analyst for the Office of the Attorney General here in Switzerland. So it was very interesting because in the first case, so my presentation, it was about me making the presentation. Second one, the conference, was about, for me it's also about, not only about the content, but also I always try to observe what the presenter do good, what they don't do as so good, and I always try to take with me some positive aspect that I think could help me improve as a presenter, because it's always something that's been very fascinating for me to follow. It's which way you can improve just yourself and make your presentation better, and you can work on that and really improve. And I can take my case as example. I started rather as a shy guy, being young, struggling to make presentation in front of people, not so confident, and maybe not naturally gifted to speak in front of people in a relaxed way, which isn't maybe the best setup to start with, but it's definitely something you can work on and improve with the time. And for me, one thing, I don't know how I could force myself, but I realized that I wanted to improve that, and I was not okay with being shit or bad at presentation. It's basically every time I had the occasion to present something, and it's still the case, every time that I have the occasion to present result of group work, every time basically where it's okay, Matt, you're part of that group, who wants to present? I try to raise my hand because then it's another occasion to train, and I think that applies to most stuff in life. The more you train, the more you're willing to train or to try, the better you will get. Training goes a long way, and I think that applies to a lot of fields in life. So if you want to get better at something, just practice more and train. I think that's the best way you could go to max out what you can do. That has been my way to go, and I've been improving step by step. And every time that I watch a conference, I try to get inspired by people who are really good at it, try to take with me some aspect that they do and try to implement that in my presentation skills. So it's something interesting. I've been able to improve year by year. And obviously YouTube is very different to that, because YouTube you don't have anybody facing you real time. And it's obviously very different because you're talking like me at the moment, talking to a camera, and you're just hoping for the best. But I mean, it's more about the speech and the way you structure your talk more than really the presentation itself and mixing between the content and interactive. It's a bit different, related but a bit different. And obviously I've been improving in YouTube too. When I watch my very old video, I could do like they do on some channel, like watch along my content from 10 years ago. Maybe I've been since 10 years, yeah, a bit less than that on YouTube, but something like that. I've been massively improving the way I'm talking, because you get used to that. You try to remove all the little mistakes, all the little stuff that makes you less, I don't know, enjoyable to hear, to listen to. And from time to time, I like to listen back my videos. Even if obviously I've recorded it, so I know exactly what I said, but I like to rewatch it as a viewer to see how it really is, basically, how does it look like, and if I like the way it sounds. And it's strange, because at the beginning, when it's the first time you listen to you, or the first couple of times, it sounds very strange to hear your own voice, to hear you talking. You get a feeling, yeah, kind of a bad feeling. Oh, sounds weird, sounds not good, and so on. And then you get used to it, you get used to your own voice, and then you can, yeah, get used to it and also try to improve based on that. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that in opening. This has been long enough, but basically I think it's similar to a lot of topics. But if you'd like to improve your presentation skills, my advice would be, first of all, anytime you have the occasion, try to present stuff, or be active and say, okay, I want to present. When you have the occasion, when something is needed and you could be the one presenting it, try to do it, because the more you train, the more, the better you will be. Second would be obviously know your topic. I think that's key. Good presentation is obviously when you handle the topic well and you know exactly what you're talking about. Preparation is key, so all that stuff. I think that's definitely a valid point. And the third one would be when you go to conferences, when you listen to people presenting, try to inspire from the good one, the good example. And also the bad one. If you have somebody making a presentation that is not so good, try to analyze, okay, why isn't that good? Why don't I like? What is to avoid? And so on. I think that could be a massive help into your improvement. Anyway, the topic, ninth stage topic I wanted to talk to you about today is the journey from a garage player. I take that as an image because I think that's the more appealing. Garage player up to ETC medalist, we could say, ETC player, because I'm taking my own example and that's where I started. A garage player, what is a garage player? Is the guy playing with 2-3 friends in a garage, in a basement, and we're playing from time to time together, not with a great understanding of the rules, but having fun, right? And up to the final step for me was the ETC medals, because I've never won ETC. Maybe I will never win it, we will see that. That's still a step I would be happy to achieve one day, but we will see. It's not an easy one. So I can talk up to the step I've achieved. I cannot talk about winning because I haven't yet, but it's not too far away, I think, in terms of what you do. Between being on the podium and winning it, there is a little difference about, I think, potentially the investment, but the recipe is very similar. But I think that could be, yeah, thanks to the person that gave me the topic ID, because I think it's a great one and I can happily talk about that. So first of all, how do you get through those steps? So first, yeah, me starting playing with some friends. And for me, the first step is getting out of the garage and going to a tournament. I think that's the first step into getting into the competitive environment, because improving, when you would like to improve, okay, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe there are people who want to stay garage player, play only with their friend and want to improve to be different, maybe. I don't know, but I have the feeling if you want to improve as a player, you are also going to want to play against other players. and get a little bit out of that environment. That can be a tournament, that can be from Warhol games, all that potential stuff that you can do to basically get you to play against other players. And yeah, I think that's the first step. And I remember very well the first time I went into tournament, it's another environment. So first you need to get used to that. Okay, that's a tournament. Tournament come with rules, so you get to used to the time you have to play. To maybe sometimes people not knowing all the rules, having to check stuff, having to agree with your opponent. So all that stuff, I think it's the first step of improving. We'll go through the tournament scene to just get to know what are the standards of tournament, what is expected from a tournament player in the 9th age environment. So I think that could be, for me, the first step. Go out of your garage, go to a tournament, locally first. Get to know the community locally. It also will be a good way for you to maybe face one of the good local player, face maybe one of the ETC player of your country, to get to know them and see at what level they are playing. I think that could be also a good reality check for you to see what you're trying to achieve in terms of level of game, because that should be one of your goals, reach those kind of guys. Because if you are interested by this topic, is that maybe you also one day would like to go to an ETC. Maybe you are not that type of player, but you would like maybe one day to go. And it will not be possible to improve alone in your garage. Most likely you need to face other players. And I think it's like in most sports, you need to play against good players to improve. And you need to raise that bar constantly to constantly improve and get to the level you target. And if your target is, I want to play at ETC, then play against ETC player the most you can, because that's the best way to improve. Even if you get at the beginning your ass kicked multiple times, try to improve, try to analyze, take something out of the games. And that would be my second step, analyze. Excuse me. Analyze. Understand your defeat. Understand why you lose. Yeah, I think spend a little bit of time analyzing will help you massively in the journey to trying to improve as a player. I think that's key. Take the time to do it. Take some picture. Even if it's only a picture of the deployment, that's way better than nothing. And at least you can analyze your macro. And obviously you're going to improve much more at the beginning on the macro level than on the micro level. So if you just get the occasion after the game to say, okay, I got 20'd, here's my picture of deployment, let's have a look at it. And if you need to bring something else into the loop to get to look at your deployment and criticize it, that might help you. You can even use the forum. I think there are enough kind people on the 9th Age forum that could give you feedback on the faction-based forum. So the second step would definitely be analyze your mistake, analyze your games, try to take advantage from that and to move forward. There is nothing worse for me than getting 20'd and not having understand why. And don't get me wrong, if you get 20'd, most likely you messed up with something. That is not only bad luck. Most likely your macro game plan was fucked up, and it's better to understand it if you don't want it to repeat. Because for me, something I've been really now attached to, when I got a heavy loss, I want it to be printed in my mind to avoid it to repeat again. And you saw recently on my channel a very good example of that, the Beast Herd games at Bellum Lacum. Remember 2-3 years ago, ETC first game, came there with full confidence, 4-5 months of preparation, multiple tournaments, didn't lose a single game during that time, come to ETC, very confident about my list. First game, Beast Herd, misjudge the match, get tabled. almost tabled, 20-0. Wow. Reality check. Game 1. Confidence in shatters. And yeah, I was able to learn a lot from that game. And definitely the game that happened recently at Bellum Lacum was a great display of that. I remember about the game, the mistakes I made, I was able to adjust. And this time came up with a win. But yeah, that's the type of lessons you need to make. And if you are going to get the good learnings from that type of lessons, you're going to improve and get less table or get less big losses, which is your end goal. Because if you want to improve, you want to win more, and so on. We're talking here about improving as a player, but also trying to play competitively and achieving one day ETC. So yeah, analyzing is your step. Then it depends a lot on your local community, which country you live. In some countries they have qualification, like Spain or France. So there you know that if you want to reach ETC, you have to be in one of the teams that make the qualification, and you have to win the qualification, which might not be easy. The first step would be obviously to take part to those, to see what's the level there. And if you plan one day to win it, then obviously you need to be inside one of the top team. But it's always going to be the same. At some point, if you're good enough, you're going to be taken in one of the strongest team, and you're going to be qualified. So that's going to be your pass. And in other countries like mine, where it's more on individual based, I mean, the path should be pretty clear nowadays. We have a new recruit Elo ranking, which is not perfect, but it's giving an indication of your level. And I think, let's be honest, look at the top 50 or top 20, top 10. It makes some sense if you look at the names of the players. Those are recognized players that win a lot. So mathematically speaking, it's based on the wins they made, so it makes some sense. And looking at your ELO could be a little way to try to know where you sit at the moment. And yeah, if you want to build in some form and improve, that could be a little way. And also it could be a way to be identified by your community, because if you have a strong score, yeah, it means something. So you're going to be tested at some point. Elo or not, the other, obviously, you need to be, yeah, I think Elo is maybe a more visible thing that we didn't have back in the day. As I was identified by Team Switzerland, I can take maybe my case. So, to come back, garage player started to play tournament. Then the second step for me was starting to impress at tournaments, starting from time to time to beat an ETC Switzerland player. So starting to attract interest, where they say, okay, that there is maybe a player here. There is maybe somebody we should be interested into. So that should be a step. That can go through tournament, training. Obviously tournament is a great way because it's under the competitive environment aspect. But yeah, that was my way. And then you get invited, or you try to participate. You can also declare your interest to be at some boot camps. I think in multiple countries, almost all countries. I know in Germany they do that. Switzerland, we have that as well. France, it depends on the teams, but they have also that type of stuff. Don't know about Spain. Italy probably have the same, like they do type of boot camp, where I think it's possible also to participate if you're a decent player and you're interested. And if you're in that phase where you start to perform, you have a decent ELO, you make some tournament, you've beaten from time to time ETC player, yeah, try to go at those boot camps. Try to show your IDs, play multiple games against them. Should be a great way for you to improve. And yeah, at the same time, you can show yourself and maybe be selected. But that will be obviously the next step, would be selected in their team, be part of their group, and then be selected in the final team would be the next step. But I think those steps then are more in going to form in a natural way. I think the hardest one and the biggest jump are obviously moving on from a casual player, a garage player, up to a tournament player. And starting on, you can be obviously, yeah, just going to a tournament, losing the games, okay. But then becoming a decent tournament player, I think that's really the step, like understanding what are the demands, how you perform, understanding really the games, getting to know all the armies. That's also something when you start in tournaments, you're moving from a garage where you play against 3-4 friends, always the same armies, and then you go to tournaments where you face new armies. That's also a big discovery at the beginning. Obviously, Warhol nowadays is a big help because you can already improve your knowledge of the armies while being almost a beginner. You can start that obviously differently. But for those of you who don't play on Warhol, yeah, obviously that's the issue. So getting all of that obviously is the big part. But then as soon as you understand that context and you're a regular attendee of tournament, then it's about putting a decent analysis perspective into your games, trying to improve, really that focus on improving, keeping it the same, training on a regular basis, and it doesn't need to be 10 games a week. Most of the time I play 1 game a week, and I think that's fine. If you can play more, then that's cool, but I mean, it doesn't have to be that much. But yeah, take the time to analyze, move step by step forward, try to play with better players, and that should help you moving forward. If you make the right analysis, you play on a regular basis, you should improve. And at some point then you get the next steps, getting in touch with an ETC team or meeting them, getting known on your country level because you start to perform. That's the next logical step. And then obviously the medal part of it was obviously the last step for me. Obviously depends on the level that you're able to achieve as a team. I've been talking about it a bit more, I think, in French on my other channel the last couple of years. But yeah, the medal part of things comes to, you need to be in that group of teams that prepare well, have experienced player, have a good understanding of the meta, are building good list, and get good training. I wouldn't say enormous amount of training, but still good training, regular training, get proper analysis of their game. I think that could be the base basically to reach that type of level. And then obviously you need a bit of luck. The 2 times I got the medal, it was a bit of luck also in the process, the teams you get to match, the way it goes in the other games. So I think you need that little bit of luck that helps you reach the medals also. Or you are really a team that was like Italy this year, very impressive from the beginning to the last. They just lost in the final, but they were really deservingly on the podium. They didn't have at all an easy way through it. And those teams are going to be obviously more regularly on the podium because they are quite impressive. And yeah, I think then what's really distinguishing the medal candidate to the winner's candidate is then you need to put a bit more effort. So that means more hours of gamings, more preparation to basically be even better. And I think really preparation for me is the distinguishing factor to really compete for the win. That's what I've been figuring out these last couple of years, and that's where I think we as Switzerland are still a bit far away, and we're probably going to struggle to close that gap, because you need a lot of people first in your group. You cannot just be a little group, because you also need players around to help you train, to help you understand the list, to help you practice, to challenge for the spots. That's going also to push the players to play more, to get in the team. So all that stuff means you need to have a big enough community of players that are interested by ETC. And I think that's the first aspect where we have obviously an issue as a small country with not that many players that are potentially applying for ETC. And yeah, reaching home. So as you can see, I'm going to close the video soon. But yeah, basically, that's one of the aspects. And second aspect, I think you need to get more games, and that's where we are a little bit low in comparison to the team that have won ETC the last couple of years. I think that's basically the two factors. So it's not so hard to identify. It's just are you able to put in what's requested to achieve that? And it's all about the goals. I think it's okay also to have different goals. But yeah, just ask yourself. I think I need a proper conclusion to that topic. Ask yourself, what do you like? What do you want? And what are you going to put in place to achieve that? So if your goal is basically to become a better player, to go one day at ETC, then you need to start to go to tournament, and you need to start that road. If your goal is just to stay a casual gamer, you go from time to time to tournament, but not that much, you're happy to play mainly in a garage, then I mean, fine, don't put yourself too much pressure and focus on enjoying the game. And I mean, the analyzing stuff is less important for you, because that's not the part where what you enjoy the most in that game. What you enjoy the most is playing with friends, rolling some dice and having fun. And that's fine. It's a hobby, so you need to pick what makes you happy, basically. And not everybody likes to play competitive or wants to go to ETC. So pick what you want. And also, ETC can be very different from ETC because you can go also to ETC more in a way to get an experience, play competitive, but still be more relaxed. You are maybe like in a team that's more around mid-table, so less pressure, more about the fun, social experience and all that stuff, which is also very cool. There are plenty of players like that who, yeah, they play competitive, but they are also more relaxed on the approach and the pressure they put on themselves. And that's also fine. It's very, I think, individual based. So you need to think what's important for you, which way you want to go about that. Just to try to show you around my example, basically what has been my approach and which way I've been going about this, and still with the quest of continuously improving. Still not happy with my level, and I probably will never be. I will continue to improve. I want to improve. I want to get better. And that's my focus. That's my way of doing it. That's the way I like it. That's the obsession I have. But it's very personal. I mean, don't put yourself that type of pressure if you don't like it, if you don't want that. You can be happy with being a casual gamer that goes from time to time into tournament. One thing I would say though, if you've never been to a tournament, go. I think don't be afraid of it. It's a great way to meet new people. It's a great way to have a taste of competitive environment. That being said, not every table at a tournament feel that competitive. I mean, there is a huge difference sometimes from the last table to the first table. They are more relaxed table. It's a cool way to meet new people. So if you haven't never been to a tournament, I would strongly recommend you try to attend to some in your region. That's a cool way to meet people, to meet the club, to get in touch with new people, meet new armies, see nice miniatures. So I would recommend that. Even if you're not interested by the competitive aspect of it, try to go. I think it's very, very nice. And it's where our hobby, our game lives. And it should continue to be that way. So I would be advising you, try to go to a tournament if you've never been. Anyway, I think I've been talking enough. I wish you a very nice Sunday. Hope you're doing well, and stay tuned to the channel. Plenty of battle report coming up. Take care, goodbye.